Okay, night one of AEW Fyter Fest 2020. I also know that NXT is doing their Great American Bash in a similar format this week, but to be honest, the match card lineup really didn't interest me, and I definitely wanted to try to get a little more AEW content in this year, or at all, and this was probably the best opportunity, but there's also something weird going on that I'll get to when I get to that, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to do something different. Anyway, our first match is the tag team match between the Jurassic Express of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt against MJF and Warlow. Right off the bat, MJF got on the mic and said, hey, the only reason they're doing this match is because we're in a ratings war, and you need MJF in order to put this over. Yeah, I love MJF. Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Anyway, right off the bat, he blocked off a Poison Rana, and then Wardlow catapulted Jungle Boy into the ring post. Jungle Boy hit MJF with... he tricked MJF into hitting a big boot on Wardlow. The ref missed the tag to Luchasaurus. Eventually, Luchasaurus did get tagged in. He hit a bicycle kick on Wardlow. Wardlow actually worked a lot of this match. I didn't see too much of MJF doing anything. He did come in and do a couple of things, but that's about all. Most of the stuff I hear is for Wardlow. Luchasaurus hit an inverted DVD, a Death Valley Driver onto Wardlow. Jungle Boy hit multiple suicide moves onto MJF to the outside of the ring. Luchasaurus hit a planche of his own onto Wardlow. Jungle Boy hit a Poison Rana on Wardlow. Marco Stunt was unfortunately tried to distract the ref at one point. He got interfered, and that allowed MJF to get a quick super kick and a sneaky type roll up, but I believe was Luchasaurus kicked out of that. MJF went for the punch the diamond ring, but Luchasaurus ducked and he wound up punching Wardlow instead, and then allowed Luchasaurus to hit the choke slam and a standing moonsault for the 3 count and victory. This was an okay match. I kind of wish MJF had done more. I can't remember if he's injured or not, but yeah, something's going on there because he didn't seem to work a lot of this match. And afterwards, MJF kind of walked away from Wardlow, who was trying to apologize, but MJF just wasn't having that. We then got a fight between Lance Archer and Joey Janela in the crowd. They're fighting in part 2. And we also got a reminder that after part 2 of Fyre Fest next week, we get the Puppy Battle Royal. So, I guess we got that going for us. Okay, our next match is the AEW Women's World Championship match. Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian. But right off the bat, though, Sabian grabbed the referee, Aubrey Edwards, and she ejected him. And as he was leaving, he grabbed Shida's kendo stick and left with that. So Shida dominated the match early on, hit a big flying knee, hit a single leg drop kick through the ropes. Ford started to dodge. She dodged a flying chop and then hit a standing kick of her own. At this point, they kind of went to a commercial break. Ford came out of it. She hit a running boot with, then followed that up with a German suplex. She hit a death drop DDT. Ford hit a bicycle kick. Shida countered a handspring, the handspring stunner into the sleeper hold. Ford countered a Falcon Arrow into a roll-up attempt. Ford eventually hit her stunner, but only got a 2 count. She hit another stunner, only got a 2 count. Shida dodged a moonsault and hit a Falcon Arrow, but only got a 2 count. But then immediately after that, as this was happening, shortly before that, Kip Sabian came down, tried to go after Shida and Hikaru Shida, and she basically ducked. She fought him out, knocked him out with a kendo stick. It looked like that was going to enable Ford to distract her long enough for Ford to hit her move. But then Shida hit the Falcon Arrow, Ford kicked out, and then Shida followed that up with a Shining Wizard for the 3 count. Okay, match. I think it got a little muddled towards the end. This happened with a couple of matches on this. I don't like this. We kick out of the finisher, but then we hit one more move, and that's enough to put them out. Then just have them go down for the 3 count on the finisher. That's what a finisher is for. There's way too much finisher kickouts on this show, I think. That just happened a little too much. Matches weren't bad, but unfortunately I think I was dragged down a little bit on that. And that leads us into our next match, the TNT Championship Match. Cody putting the championship on the line against Jake Hager. Hager, right off the bat, landed some big strikes. He blocked a kick attempt from Cody, threw him down to the mat. Hager threw Cody into the corner, hit a huge punch out of that. Hager countered a roll-up into an ankle lock, but Cody fought out of that and put on an ankle lock of his own. Hager started to go after Arn Anderson, but this was just a ploy to get Cody to hit a flying chop to the outside of the ring. Cody locked on a figure 4. Hager fought back and hit a suplex after blocking a flying kick attempt. At this point, Hager went after Arn Anderson again. Cody went out to stop him, but that was just a trick for Hager to hit a German suplex on the outside of the ring. After that happened, Catalina, who's Hager's wife, who accompanied him to the ring, came by and stepped on Cody with a pair of stiletto heels, like really hard. Hager locked on a sleeper hold, but Cody came back, hit the Nightmare Cutter. He hit a big power slam, but only got 2 counts out of those. Hager hit a Hager bomb for a 2 count. Cody fought another Hager bomb and hit a death drop DDT, but only got a 2 count. At this point, this sort of weird schmoz broke out where Hager seemed to get Cody in some type of pinning predicament, but then both men's shoulders were down, and Cody just kind of barely rolled out, or something like that. Like, they also said Cody may have tapped, but something happened because the ref counted a 3 count, and Hager thought he had won the match, but in reality, Cody had apparently gotten his shoulder up at the last second. Like, it was really, kind of, like I said, I couldn't quite catch what happened, but it looked like Hager had won. But Cody had just squeaked it out, and afterwards Hager attacked the ref, knocked him out cold. Everyone but Chris Jericho, who was doing commentary, was kind of disgusted on that. And then they went to a vignette where Darby Allin skateboarded, despite not being medically cleared to do that. Yeah, again, this was probably the match of the night. I think it did a really good job of telling the story. Unfortunately, it got dragged down a little bit because of the ending. It's just a little too confusing. I wish they had maybe put it into a clearer position onto that. Okay, our next match is Santana and Ortiz of the Inner Circle versus Private Party with Matt Hardy, who was not broken, and I'm trying to think what persona he was in. Before the match, though, Orange Cassidy came out to watch the match. Jericho was not happy. Jericho and Orange Cassidy are facing each other at Fyre Fest Night 2. And this is where it gets confusing, because we have Private Party, which is Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. But then we have Orange Cassidy, and so I'm saying Cassidy. I'm referring to Isaiah, not Orange. He didn't do anything but just watch the match. Isaiah Cassidy hit a senton, and then a walk-up enziguri. Ortiz distracted Isaiah Cassidy long enough for Santana and Ortiz to hit a double team move. Santana and Ortiz hit a crossbody brainbuster on Cassidy. Cassidy got the tag to Quinn. Quinn hit a big roundhouse kick. Cassidy tagged in and knocked Ortiz off the apron. It's kind of turned into a big schmoz again. A lot of very quick moves. It was kind of hard to take notes. So there was a series of double teams moves from Santana and Ortiz. At one point, Ortiz landed really hard and looked like he'd kind of knocked himself a little silly, unfortunately. So yeah, he was selling some type of injury, and Santana and Ortiz went for a move, but I think it was Isaiah Cassidy pulled down Santana's headband, which caused him to be blinded, and that enabled Private Party to get in and hit the head scissor into the cutter for the 3 count and the victory. So yeah, like I said, again, not a terrible match, but again, I think got a little clustery towards the end there. Like I said, kind of hard to take notes because there were a lot of stuff happening really fast in it. Kind of hard to keep track of everything. After the match, we had Jericho attacked Orange Cassidy. His night at the announcer's table was done. We then went backstage for an interview with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page for their Tag Team Championship match, which is the next match after this. They said the best friends deserved a shot at the title, but that didn't necessarily mean that they would win. So I'll get to that in just a sec. Okay, so this is where things are going to get a little confusing. So I don't think it's too big a secret right now that Renee Young of WWE announced that she has tested positive for COVID-19, and because of that, Jon Moxley, who is the AEW champion, has chosen to defy requests to quarantine himself and instead be with his wife, and that has thrown a wrench into a lot of things here. He has been tested, according to reports, Moxley has been tested twice. He is tested negative on both occasions, but out of concern for the safety of everyone involved, he is not going to be defending the AEW Championship on July 8th at Fyter Fest Night 2. Instead, that has been moved to the next week for Fight for the Fallen, which is a Wednesday, which is on July 15th, which is a Wednesday. So I don't know if that show is also free or not, but yeah, it's one of those, I'm kind of confused as to what this is, if this is a pay-per-view or not. But yeah, that's kind of thing. So yeah, like I said, that's where it starts to get a little, again, things are getting a little weird here, obviously. Like, I understand you don't want to have that match. That's probably a good idea that you not have that match on the 8th. And to that effect, they even furthered the story by having Cage and Taz come out for a promo, and Taz basically said, again, Moxley, you've been tested twice, you tested negative twice, and if you were to get tested next week, you will test negative because AEW is in a sloppy shithouse. Yeah, like, again, if you paid attention to what's happened to WWE recently. So, yeah, pretty good stone thrown there. Like I said, I'm still not sure what exactly Fight for the Fallen is going to be, if that's going to be on pay-per-view or not. Because that it means, well, then there's no Wednesday Dynamite on Wednesday. Anyway, there's also going to be a few other matches. They added a couple more matches. There's going to be a tag match with, oh, what's the other one next week? Oh, shoot. SCU is taking on the Dark Order with Colt Cabana, and we'll figure out if Colt Cabana is a full member of the Dark Order or not. What's the other one? Nyla Rose has something. She has a match and a, quote, big announcement. I'm guessing it's probably a rematch with Sheeta. And then Private Party will be taking on the winners of the main event, which I will get to here shortly. Also, Joey Janela and Lance Archer are facing each other. And I think that's it. Okay, so anyway, our main event for the evening, or at least night one of Fyter Fest, is the AEW Tag Team Championship match. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus the best friends of Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, who were escorted to the ring, who arrived at the arena with Trent's mom giving them a ride. Like I said, Private Party get a match against the winners for the Tag Team Championships next week at Fyter Fest Night 2. Right off the bat, Chuck Taylor dodged a V-trigger attempt from Kenny Omega, hit a big arm drag. Page suplexed Taylor onto Beretta. Page hit a standing moonsault after Omega hit a leg lariat. At this point, FTR, aka formerly the Revival, of, oh, I forget what they're calling their names now, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, I think that's what they're calling themselves. They came out, they brought beer. Again, they didn't really interject too much, they just sat and watched the match. Taylor, what is it, right here? They tried, at one point, I believe Kenny Omega tried to whip Trent Beretta into hitting the post, but Chuck Taylor blocked that and enabled the best friends to kind of get the upper hand. Beretta hit a big suplex to Omega, which sent him into the barricade. Taylor hit a flying plancha to the outside of the ring. Omega fought back in, hit Beretta with a Fisherman's Buster. Beretta then blocked a moonsault attempt from Omega. Omega hit knee on Beretta, but only got a 2 count on it. The best friends came in, they hit a combo finish, the Strong Zero, their combo finisher, but Omega broke up the pin, they hit it on Page. Beretta rolled up Page with Page Fire, it hit a dead eye. He then hit the buckshot lariat for the 3. This is another instance, like I talked about earlier, where someone hits a finisher, we get a kick out, and then they immediately hit another finisher, and that's enough to, yeah. Like, no other moves are thrown. They just hit the second finisher, and it's like, okay, this is where I'm getting confused. This is where I don't really like how that played out. Like, just have one finisher in the match. So overall, the match was good. Afterwards, FTR came down to the ring, offered everyone beer. Paige accepted right away. Omega reluctantly accepted, but then intentionally spilled the beer on the floor. That led to a big squabble, and then the Young Bucks had to come out and play Peacemaker, and that's how it ended. Like I said, the match overall was good. I didn't quite like. Again, I'm not a fan of the ending. Like we had that with the Women's Championship match, and I guess to an extent we had that in the TNT Championship match too. Like a little bit of that was a little overkill on that bit there. I think that's kind of dragging the show down a bit. It wasn't terrible. All the matches were really well done, mostly well executed outside of a couple of botches here and there, but not terrible. Right now I'm going to be tentatively giving this a B. I'll give it overall grade for the show when Night 2 airs next week. Okay, excuse me. And so, the next video after this is going to be the review of Hamilton premiering on Disney+. The next movie review after that will be Palm Springs, which is a Hulu movie with Andy Samberg, sorry. And then in between that you'll get Fyre Fest Night 2. And then obviously there's going to be an Extreme Rules recap and review. I guess if Fight for the Fallen is affordable, I'll try to see if I can review it, hopefully, maybe. Fingers crossed. And then around that time, too, is probably also going to be the random trade review on Howard Chaykin's American Flag, the first 12 issues. See you all next time. Okay, quick update here at the end. I just looked up on my phone, and they are saying that Fight for the Fallen will be on July 15th on TNT, so I guess I'll review that as well. Again, see you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.